Are social democracy and nationalism mortal enemies, or are they compatible comrades? Or are they the same thing? Well, with the march of the EDL and David Cameron saying that multiculturalism has failed in Britain, we must see that there is a conservative current that runs through nationalism. But to me, nationalism and social democracy are not incompatible with each other. In fact, to me, they are the same thing. Because why wouldn't I want my country to have a generation of people who live better than their predecessors? Do I want a race war in this country? No, I do not. But I am an English nationalist, a moderate English nationalist. The fact that David Cameron echoed what Angela Merkel had already said, and she is the de facto leader of the European Union with Herman Van Rompuy, shows that nationalism is back to the fore. And nationalism can be a positive thing. Multiculturalism, to me, is one of the most dangerous ideologies around. To me, it is an authoritarian ideology that makes people want to rebel for the first in the first instance, and it also tries to tell people how they should think, feel, and this is inherently dangerous. We've seen such things before in totalitarianism of other kinds, and modern totalitarianism, such as the Islam of the Bin Laden crime family. In previous decades, we've seen communism and National Socialism. That's Nazism to those of you not familiar with the term. Who've tried to tell us how to think and how to feel. Social democracy, though, is based on economics. It's based on a science that can be tested, and so therefore we are able to develop a social democracy that can be compatible with nationalism. Labour, for instance, was the first party to nationalise the National Health Service, and that is a form of nationalism. But what we are against, and I am a Labour supporter, is the idea that you can use nationalism as a vehicle for Thatcherite policies, and that's what the BNP does. In my previous video, BNP members choose European survival or Thatcherism. Make a choice. I said to Thatcherism a warning from history. I laid out how Thatcherites have infiltrated the BNP as they did the National Front, and are using it simply as a vehicle to get themselves back in power to a more extreme level. They couldn't do this with the current Conservative government to the full extent that they would wish, but they have managed to do it with the BNP. What about the EDL? Well, the EDL have simply asked that they do not want Sharia law, and with that I'm for them. But I simply believe that they are another BNP-like organisation. What do I mean by English nationalism? I mean that English nationalism should mean a openness to the European Union, for instance, because we are of one race with the European people. European values are also English values, but English nationalism itself can be insular, and this is a bad thing. English nationalism, to me, means that we should have an English Parliament and social democracy, which, to use the economic term again, produces to the point of maximum social benefit. That point is that fluctuates all the time, and we must adapt ourselves to that point to gain the best optimum of living standards for our people. That is nationalism. That is the purest form of nationalism to me, to be altruistic to each other, to share each other's wealth, as a nation, as one people, rather than being divided into different castes. We shouldn't be in different classes to each other. We should be one people. That to me is nationalism. So social democracy and nationalism shouldn't be enemies with each other. But what we are seeing is conservatism trying to use nationalism to its own ends, for economic ends, because they don't believe in rational plans and they do not believe in the nation as one people with one purpose, and that is to make the nation better. They believe that in the class system which keeps people in their place, as they would see it. That's the Norman yoke to me. And in my last series, England, the real eternal Reich, I set out why I believe that this has come about. To me, the title of that series, The Real Eternal Reich, is justified because Reich in Old English, simply means state or empire. And we have been both an empire and a state. My views on the British Empire were mixed, but for the BNP to use the British Empire as a vehicle and as an image to brainwash people into believing that they are the saviours of this country is an absolute lie. The people behind the BNP are extremely evil people. They are Thatcherites. They do not give a hoot or give a fuck about nationalism. They are out to destroy this country. They've done it. They've tried to do it before, because basically they're in the service of other states and other countries, specifically the Americans. To me, the Labour Party is the best vehicle, and if the Labour Party would just ditch the anti-fascism group lot and its other authoritarian multiculturalism aspects, it would return to what it was, which was the economic party for social democracy in this country. As a Labour supporter, I do find it frustrating sometimes that they do not reach out to the white working class, the people who create the Labour Party and who the Labour Party is supposed to be serving. You know, that to me would be the merger of nationalism, of a social democracy that is patriotic, and that is what I would seek to achieve. So to me, nationalism and social democracy are one and the same thing. I do not want to work against my nation, but for it. I want to increase its power, its wealth, its equality and freedom, because there must be a balance between equality and freedom. We must have a constitution that continues to produce those aspects of a modern society, which is the rule of law and equality and freedom in balance.